start to bring in each of our panelists one by one for this discussion. And let's see, our third panelist, Christopher Johnson. All right, here we go. It so happens we're talking about tech tips today. We did a practice session earlier today, and I was having some tech hiccups. I'm not going to call them nightmares, hiccups, some tech hiccups. And I said, Michelle, help me out. Why is my computer lagging? And we did a bunch of things, and it was a Chrome update and a Windows thing, and it seemed to have worked. So I'm delighted because when you are self-employed, you don't have access to a tech team anymore. You can't go to the IT department, but you can build your network with people like Megan and Michelle and Christopher, and they can help you out. So with that said, what I'd like to do is we kick off our discussion right now on tech tips for solopreneurs. I'm going to give the hot seat to each of our panelists and ask you to introduce yourself. So Michelle, why don't you go first, and then we'll go Megan and Christopher.
Hi, I'm Michelle Kay. I am a computer coach, and I share tips and tricks for your everyday software so that you can focus on your business and not your computer. If you're wondering how long I've been doing this, the answer is almost 30 years. So yes, I'm a little bit older than I look, but I'm happy to talk tech with pretty much everybody.
Awesome. We are delighted to have you here, Michelle. And next up, we have Megan. And Megan, you're muted right now. You'll need to unmute before you start your introduction. But why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Love to. Thank you, Brenda. So first of all, thank you to my fellow tech panelists. It is such an honor to be here with you. So hi, I'm Megan Bojas. I am a communication and marketing strategist who helps you leverage technology. So think about it this way, right? So many people and organizations really want to build authentic, personalized engagement with their audiences, whether that's their customers, their clients, their industries, their peers. But when you're an entrepreneur, it is even more pivotal to have a vibrant, engaging audience. So one of the things that I do and I specialize in is really helping entrepreneurs and businesses help to build a MarTech platform that really helps you. MarTech being all those marketing and communication technology tools, whether they're apps or extensions or templates saved behind the scenes to make your job easier and to really improve your efficiency. So my whole goal is to help you have more impact over activity. So with that, I've got over 20 years of experience in helping everyone from small businesses to big brands to really drive client engagement and employee engagement. And at the end of the day, I love communication, marketing, and helping others. So that's what I do.
Awesome. Thank you, Megan, and great to have you here with us here today. And last but certainly not least, I think of Christopher as my Zoom go-to guy, but I know he does a much more than that. So Christopher, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Greetings. I'm Christopher Johnson, a virtual event producer, and my company is Calm Clear Communications. I remove the tech headache, allowing speakers, trainers, and authors to navigate a virtual world without worry. And yes, I also use this voice on public radio and live event announcing. And I'm thrilled to be here on this panel.
Thank you. And for those of you, Terry Bean earlier, I always call him Terry Bean. I never just call him Terry. Terry Bean earlier talked about TEDx Detroit. And if you've been to TEDx Detroit, you know that Christopher Johnson is the voice of TEDx Detroit. His is the name we hear up on stage in the background. He does a great job. All right. I am super excited about this panel. We have done a prep and I've brought in some questions. I've asked our experts to help with creating those questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask each of our panelists a few questions, and then we're going to open it up to the audience as well. So if you have any questions about technology, don't wait. Ask them now. We're going to do audience Q&A at the end. But what we're going to do to start is we're going to do some questions that we've pre-prepared. And Megan, I'm going to start with this question. The question involves email address. So for people that are just getting started, making the shift from being an employee to a solopreneur, do I really need a branded email? What do you think?
The short answer, absolutely. The extended response of why is because impression management is a thing. So when you're emailing a customer, you want to have a really good buttoned up professional impression. Think of it as if when you're on a business and you can't find an email address for customer service, or you do find one, right? And if it's, Jack's car washing at gmail.com. If your name is Jack, it's not offense to you. My apologies. But that at gmail.com is a public personal email, right? We know that. Just having that handle of at Calm Clear Communications is going to help you really have a strong first impression as you're also facilitating that email out amidst the crowd, because your email is going to be everywhere. It's going to be in your email signature. It's going to be on your LinkedIn profile. It's going to be on any collateral that you're printing or sharing. If you're giving presentations, that email needs to define you. And we know that 93% of people's impressions is all in nonverbals. It's in your visuals. It's in how you're presenting yourself. And that email is part of how you're presenting yourself. And if you need easy ways to do that, definitely connect with Michelle. And you can also ask me, but there's different ways you can really build in a handle specifically. And I know I've helped people through Google do it, where Google offers you the free chance to build that in for a low cost, free or low cost. But yeah, you need it. So please don't not get it. Start with that out of the gate.
Yeah, I always say it makes you look bigger than you are too. So thank you for kicking us off with that. All right, Michelle, we're going to keep this moving. This is going to be a quick turnaround as we move through our questions here. So Michelle, what computer do I need as I'm getting started? I just left my corporate job. I'm going to go to the office supply store or Micro Center and buy a new laptop. What do I need?
You need to first off think, what are you actually going to do on the computer? On the device, because quite honestly, your phone may do exactly what you need. For example, if you need to deal with social media to get your voice out there, your phone's going to work and you've already got that. If you're not doing that much, you can go for a tablet where you've got a slightly bigger screen and maybe something else. But if you're creating, for example, a lot of content written down, you might find something with a keyboard, actually, a physical keyboard is going to be much easier for you. You need something, but it can be as simple as the device you've already got, and you don't need that $1,000 or $2,000 computer. You can go with something that's relatively inexpensive that just gets you going.
Great point. And a lot of people do. You really can start with your phone, and so many web-based software nowadays as well. Great advice there. All right, Christopher, as I mentioned earlier, you're my go-to Zoom guy. And a lot of times I come to you when Zoom does a new update and they change some things. But I want to ask you a question. How do you customize your Zoom settings, and what should we know about that as we are being on this side of being self-employed now?
That's a great question. And what you should do is set up your account on Zoom. That includes an image. So your profile image will stand in when your camera is off. So you should have a nice professional image. Other customizations include how you want your name displayed. You can have it displayed on each and every Zoom that you're on. And if you perhaps want a pronouncer guide on your name, perhaps your name is not the easiest, you can have that burned in so that whenever you are in a Zoom meeting, it shows up and people have an idea how to pronounce your name. And you can add in custom virtual backgrounds. A great tool for using that is free is Canva. But customization adapts the platform to how you want to show up in the virtual world.
I love that piece of advice, and I'm going to drop that up on screen again. Custom backgrounds. A lot of us don't think about doing that. And Canva is a free tool, which is a really great tool for your business. So thank you for sharing that. All right, we're going to keep this going. We're going to go another question back to Megan. And again, we're going to be doing audience Q&A after we get through the second round of questions here. So don't be shy. Go ahead and drop your questions into chat. All right, Megan, my question for you is related to AI, artificial intelligence. We're hearing about it everywhere. And I think people are growing more comfortable than we used to be when we first heard about AI. So what's one piece of advice you would offer to individuals that are making this shift as it relates to using AI for their business?
Excellent question. Be specific. That's it. That's the tip. Be specific. Then to unpack that for a second, think about why and what your purpose is for using AI. So to be honest, a lot of writers I know and marketing professionals love the capacity and time saver it gives them to start generating ideas or to avoid writer's block. Do they use it? Absolutely. Do they use it without editing it? Absolutely not. You want to be specific with the platform you're using as well. Everyone seems to jump and go to ChatGPT. I be transparent and not a big ChatGPT user because of the parameters in the open source. I love Jasper.ai. G in the chat recently tagged in that you can pay for the paid Canva. It is a worthwhile investment for you. in terms of your company and building your brand and really having some clean, buttoned up things, as Chris said, for Zoom. But Canva also has Magic Write, which is a fabulous AI tool that is powered behind the scenes by a really wonderful AI generator. But being specific also means when you're using AI, don't just say, create me a letter. Think of it like your high school English teacher. What tone did they want your letter in? What format? Who's your audience? What grammar? What level of executive are you communicating to? So that is critical. So when you're prompting AI, like I said, put your high school English hat on and think like that. Give it as much detail as you want. And the more specific you are, the better that output is going to be, because it's still a machine.
That is such a great piece of advice. And we actually did a prep with our panelists and we were talking about this. And I was like, it was so succinct, be specific. But when she unpacked it, I'm like, you're totally right, because AI doesn't really know what you're looking for unless you're more specific with that. So thank you for that, Megan. All right, we have some more questions coming into chat right now too. We'll get to yours in just a second. But next question is back to you, Michelle. And Microsoft and Google, Word versus Docs, like what do you need for your business? What would you say?
You need one of them. It boils down to as simple as that. If people think, oh, I want Google because it's free, here's a newsflash for you. Microsoft has a free version as well. So in terms of the cost, there's no difference between them. The actual decision comes down to what you are comfortable using. If you've just come out of corporate, for example, you've been using Microsoft. So why don't you stick with using that? Use the free, the web-based tools only. So it's Office on the web. And you know how to use it already. Sure, you might not have all the facilities that you've been used to, but you can use that. If you prefer or want to give Google a go, try it. Actually, in what they do, in terms of on the web, Google has more features. But as I said, if you're corporate, Microsoft is more familiar to you. But just remember, you can get free accounts with both of them.
Good point. Awesome. All right. Thank you for that, Michelle. Okay, Christopher, we'll go last question for you. And then we've got some great questions coming in from our audience. We talked about AI. What about AI in Zoom? What are your thoughts on that?
AI in Zoom is very helpful. So a couple of the things that you can do is set the AI summary up so that every time you have a Zoom meeting on your account, the summary runs in the background and provides detailed information about what was said and done during the meeting. Think of this as note-taking, but better. If you attach the AI to the recording, for instance, you have a comprehensive set of notes on the meeting that AI has produced. But if something is unclear, because AI is not 100%, you still have the recording to review and say, oh, that's what it meant. But a summary is always a good thing. And you're already using AI probably if you have enabled transcription on your Zoom account. And that's one of the things that you should do just because it helps everyone. Is the transcription 100%? Again, no, but it is really good at capturing what was said, and it captures inflections, intonations, and everything else. So enabling transcriptions and AI helps your Zoom experience.
Can I piggyback on that real quick to what Chris said about using both? It really helps too. If you remember something being said that was like a golden nugget for a marketing or communications thing, having that transcript along with AI or that recording, you can go through and really capture that specific quote if you want to repurpose it for marketing and communication.
Really good point. I do that exact thing when I'm doing coaching, and I'm speaking to those of you who are thinking about doing coaching for your business as well. If you're doing coaching virtually, I deliver it through Zoom. I always ask my clients at the beginning, is it okay if I record this? And they say yes. I say, okay, I'm going to do a recording. I'm going to do the AI summary, which is 90 to 95% accurate. And then I'm going to grab the transcript as well. And between the AI and the transcript, you'll be able to get the correct conversation that we had. Really great tips there. Okay, guys, we have all kinds of questions coming in from our panel, and we're going to do a popcorn style on these as well. First question is from Laura, and she's asking, what are your thoughts on QR codes? Who from our panel would like to take this one?
I'll take it.
Megan, go ahead.
All right. I am all for it. One of my favorite QR tools is actually, it's free, and it's an extension that you can build into Canva. It is called me-qr.com. It lets you save them, update the addresses, share them, change ownership with them. and which is nice. For example, say I'm building a training module or a communication campaign for someone. They had this just happened actually. I was building something for one of my clients, and the person who was working on the website created a brand new landing page. We'd already sent out all the marketing collateral, everything was set up. The QR code was working, people loved it. Then she added a new page, and it wasn't the same URL that we had the QR code linked to. But me-QR, which is also the same one that Canva lets you use as an extension in Canva, allowed me to log back in, change the URL without changing the QR code. And then my flip to that is also, if you're thinking about QRs, remember that 67% of us are visual. When you look at tech users, who's your audience? If you have an audience that's younger, they are not going to want to do any typing or entering. They want to be able to scan, click, and move forward. We're also busy people. We just are, right? We are limited on time and energy. Having a QR code to quickly scan is great. Now, if you're targeting a generation that's not as tech savvy, just make sure when you put your QR code on any marketing collateral, you have a scan me or a phone icon next to it. So it triggers in their brain, oh, that's what I'm supposed to use to scan that. So I'm 100% absolutely, but make sure you save your QR code somewhere. And that is a must.
Okay, great. Thank you, Megan. And if the other panelists have anything to add, feel free to jump in. If not, I'm going to pull up our next question, and this is from Nancy. Nancy's asking, could you please address cybersecurity across computers, tablets, phones? Who would like to try this one? Michelle, maybe? Christopher, what do you think? Christopher. Okay, go ahead. Christopher, you come from a corporate IT background, so this is like right up your alley, right?
I do. Yeah. I spent a lot of years in corporate IT and IT security. So use the things that are available to you. Where you have two-factor authentication possible, use it. And what this means is having something in addition to a website and password. So you have it send a code to your phone. You have some other identifier that you can use to access the software that you rely on. And if you're giving out access to other members of your team, only give people the access they need to do the job. The analogy I like to give is when you go to the mechanic and you hand over your keys, you could hand over the keys to the car, the house, your office, maybe a banking number. What key do they need? They really just need the key to the car. So when you hand over just the tools that people need to do their job, it safeguards everybody. So two-factor authentication, and when granting privileges, only grant what people need to do the job.
I love that. I love the analogy of going to your car dealership, and I do that. I take off my key fob and my house key and everything. I love that analogy. And there's also, when you go to coffee shops, I like to use VPN. So especially if I sometimes pop off of what I'm doing in LinkedIn and check my banking balance, I don't want to have anybody have access. So getting like a VPN will hide all of that public information. So something to think about there. Michelle, did you want to add anything to that? If not, I'll move on to our next question.
No, let's go to the next question. Chris was just such a good answer.
Okay. So actually, I feel like this question was queued up for you a bit, Michelle.
Yes.
So Linda, I don't know if you knew, but she's, hey, is there a starter checklist for the person just starting on their own? Something they can build off of and add on as they are financially able. Michelle, what do you think?
I think I can definitely help with that. The free guide that I'm going to be offering as part of this live-a-thon actually is my starter checklist. And when you do that, exactly as Linda says, you do want to start with what you're using immediately and at the best value that you can afford. So if actually you're just trying things out, go for the free one. Don't immediately go for the top level. Try things out and give it a go. And you want to think about what you need now and what you'll need in the future, but don't immediately buy what you need in the future. Do start with just what you need now. But I will be sharing my free checklist with everybody very shortly.
All right, awesome. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, Michelle, you'll drop that into the comments, but that will also be in the playback email that I'll be sharing with folks. Is that right?
Yes, I have the link for that ready.
Okay, wonderful. Okay, so a couple more questions have come in, and audience, this is your time. If you have any questions, feel free. Don't be shy. Ask your questions now in chat. We're going to go back to AI again, and Jeremy has a question. Megan, any suggestions for sources for good prompt templates for things? I'm not sure. Maybe it's an AI question or not. Maybe think of AI when I read it, though.
No, it
what are your thoughts
absolutely
there,
is an
Megan?
AI question. I'm going to go back to Jasper. So Jasper does a really great job helping you improve your prompt. So if you give it a prompt, here is my shell for a great prompt start. In one of the best pieces of advice, and even the content marketing world was sharing this on one of the recent webinars, of save your lists of prompts. And I'm a big believer in this as well. So Jeremy, to answer your question, first part, when you're giving it a prompt, use a very clear define things. So create or write insert what format you want it in: letter, social media post on link, email to a client. Got that in. Then 2, insert your audience, people between the ages of 45 and 60 that are familiar with technology. From, enter your description, a communication consultant. Then with insert your tone. So with an urgent tone, with a witty tone, with a conversational, and then write that. But before you hit enter, copy that again, post it, and save it in your prompt thing and see if it gets you what you want. I'm going to circle back. Some AI platforms actually will save your prompts for you. And then it'll say, do you want this to be wittier? Do you want to change the tone? Do you want it to be conversational, professional? And you can drop down your options. But those are the best things I can recommend for you. I do have to say, one of my favorite prompts is in Canva, just because it's fun and creative, and it's called Sprinkle Fairy Dust. So you literally, I love what Michelle's like, you literally can highlight your stuff and just put sprinkle fairy dust and see what happens. And that's also the fun of AI. So Jeremy, if that answers your question, give me a thumbs up or a 1 to 5 in the comments. And if you have more follow-up questions on generating prompts specific to your industry, connect with me on LinkedIn. We'll do something about that. So.
All right, awesome. I know what you're talking about, the sprinkle fairy dust, and I haven't really tried it though. Doesn't it does it like change things, or it makes the writing a little different? What does it do?
It does a couple things. Sometimes, because I've done it a couple times just for fun with clients to have them see how ridiculous AI can also be. So sometimes it'll create something that's completely not what you wanted. Other times it'll really add a fun, lighthearted spin to what you've written. So.
All right, cool. Okay, good to know. We're all big fans of Canva here as we're talking about this today. And I see a question on here. QR codes on Canva. Can someone please confirm? Yes, they are free on Canva. The free one inside Canva, I don't believe allows you to do any sort of personalization. I don't think you can add a logo or colorize or put anything different in there. Do any of you know what we're referring to? I think it's just pretty much standard black and white QR. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes. And I think you, at least as far as I've tried, yes. And Me QR is an app. So if you go to Canva and you search down where it says apps, that's one of them that'll let you link it directly, and it will automatically import all your QR codes. And you can customize there all the way down to shape, logo, and color. Free.
And Carol with the win there. She's got the direct link if you want to go to Canva, and there's some instructions from the help section on there as well. Let's see. And as we are waiting for some additional questions to come in, actually, let me ask you all as panelists this question right now. We'll bring you up to full speed again. If I were to ask you, what's the one piece of technology or software that you think new solopreneurs need? What would you say is that one thing? Who would like to go first? Megan, you're going to go first. You're voluntold. You're going first.
No, I was going to point to Michelle because she's so much better at this. She's really.
I did volunteer first.
All right, yeah, Michelle. Can Michelle go? Because I'm trying to narrow mine down.
Yeah, Michelle can go first. Sure, go ahead.
So I had thought about this, and I was going to say Canva, but I think we've had enough. We've got so many people who are saying Canva that I need to change my answers. I think you need to create your email list. So you could start this with a spreadsheet just to record names and emails, but you might want to actually go for an ESP. So that's an email service provider. So we've got people like MailChimp, ConvertKit. The one that I've recently discovered, I haven't actually used it that much, is Email Octopus, which does have a free version as well.
All right, good. Thank you for that. Okay, Megan, how about now? Are you ready now?
Okay, so I will say
One piece
this
of
is going to be a
checklist.
shameless plug also for the free resource I'm going to give, but there are 3. So you have to have, I think, one for your contacts. So like Michelle said, an email service provider, an Excel spreadsheet, a Google spreadsheet, whatever it is, something to save those contacts that you're making and track them. 2, to Michelle's point, we also have already talked about Canva, but look at which AI tools you feel comfortable using. I think that's a must. For me, I also use Briskine, Briskine. It's a Chrome extension that links and helps you create and save email templates. And then 3rd, you have to have a tool that's going to help you get organized. So whether with your calendar and your organization. So I use Calendly, and I've also used TidyCal. TidyCal is my preferred because it's a $29 fee for life, and you have countless different calendar options you can sync and integrate in different styles of appointments. That has saved me countless hours. And Grammarly, oh my gosh, sorry. Grammarly is, please, everyone download Grammarly from the communication teacher in me. Make sure you have, it's free, just use it. Please, it makes your messages better and doesn't confuse your peoples. So,
Okay, awesome. And next up, Christopher, one tech tool that you would recommend new solopreneurs get right away.
Whatever your favorite spreadsheet application is, because you need a way to organize your finances, you need a way for people to be able to pay you. So, whatever spreadsheet tool that you are comfortable with, keep track of things and keep track of how you can get paid. Now, in terms of software, there are a number of ones out there that you can use for your billing or accounts payable. But first, you have to start keeping track of that data and make it easy on your accountant by keeping track of everything. If you use something for the business, keep track of it. If you only use something for the business, keep track of it and let your accountant tell you what you can do with it. But make it easy, keep things labeled, and keep track of it.
piggyback on that, Chris, there's also
All
great
right, we're going to
template.
close this off here. All right, we're going to start to close this off here because I see Bobby Umer is in the room and he's going to be up next here. So Christopher, as we close the discussion off, if people are interested in working with you, where can they go? And are there any resources you'd like to share with us?
Sure. Connect with me on LinkedIn, Christopher Johnson. The name of my company, Calm Clear Communications, is also on LinkedIn. And the free resource I have is a Zoom checklist so you can go over your settings. But wait, there's more. There is a code for a free 15-minute session where we can review your Zoom settings so you can show up the best way possible for your next virtual event.
All right, wonderful. Thank you, Christopher. Thanks so much for joining. All right, Megan, how about you? If people are interested in learning more or working with you, how can they get a hold of you?
You can absolutely connect with me at my Linktree and on LinkedIn. So we fixed the error up top for my LinkedIn, but this is my Linktree. So if you just go to link.tre or tr.ee/Emmy you will actually see my LinkedIn. And I am offering you 3 different things. So there's a free get started tech setup call where we set up all your marketing and communications tech, not what Michelle does. Michelle is very specific and she will get you squared away. Mine is for once you've talked to Michelle and you've got Chris's stuff, let's talk. So we can get you set up that way. And then when we meet, we will actually go through some other best practices, but I'm also giving away 3 free checklists and you can just message me on LinkedIn for those. They are 30 captivating content ideas to engage your audience. I am also giving away your free MarTech setup sheet. So it goes through what you need there. And then who and what to follow starter set. So those are my 3 bundles for entrepreneurs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, awesome. And Michelle, last but not least, what would you like to share with us as we wrap up here today?
Well, I'd actually like to share the checklist, which is available to everybody. Brenda, that should be ready for you to share. Just to quickly go through, just going to whiz through. It is a tech checklist where you've got all of your key things that you need to consider just first off, including all your social media. This is free. Just sign up. I've posted the link already in, but as we were talking about QR codes, I did create a free QR code via Canva, in fact, which you can scan to go straight to the relevant page on my site. And I think we've also posted the link to my everything page. So there are more freebies on my website. You're very welcome to grab whatever you want. Plus there are some paid options that I offer, which again, it's all on the everything page.
All right, wonderful. Thank you guys so much. We have a very packed agenda today, so I am going to move you back into the audience. I welcome you to stay with us, but I want to thank you all, Michelle, Megan, and Christopher. Great panel discussion today, guys.